Hey everybody, it's Bust with Bust Builds Decks number 42. Today we'll be battling up against the 3.5-star weekly quest Yasuo at the Darkstar Portal with our 3-star Ashe. And so for this video, we're going to be covering Ashe. My intent with this is not to give you a speed run guide on crashing through this quest as fast as you can. In my opinion, the thing that's really nice with these weekly quests are using them to level up your champions. And so I've got a bunch of these 10x experience consumables. I've got a bunch of champions that I would like to upgrade, and coming into these weekly quests, it gives you like a nice bit of variety, so you aren't playing that stupid Teemo quest for the 1000th time, and it gives you a good opportunity to level up those smaller champions. And so that's what I'm going to look to be using the weekly quest for in the upcoming weeks. We'll see if they make it any more challenging ever, but I think that's probably the best thing for me in terms of what we can do with this. And so if you're wanting to see Aurelion Sol and Lissandra, don't worry, you can come right back. We'll be back there over the next two videos with Ashe fighting Lissandra and Aurelion Sol, but I think this is a nice change of pace for everyone. And so to get you in tune with the weekly quest, the repetition is the big build-around aspect for the week. When any player plays a spell, they copy it onto the same targets. This is not a particularly strong ability for Ashe, right? Copying flash freezes doesn't really do that much. You'd rather be copying a card draw, copy a burn spell, copy a stat boosting effect. And so the flash freezes are a bit weak here. Ashe does have the plunder spell that gives your top unit of the deck +1/+1 and draws a card, so she has a touch of use with the repetition, but overall she's not that strong. But those flash freezes we mentioned do work fairly well against this other stuff, right? The Trendemir ability on the Undying Rage, flash freezing a unit and killing it, it's just going to come back with no stats, and so we shouldn't have to worry about the overwhelm. And then as we're up against Yasuo, the flash freezes aren't as good against his level 1 because he does a static 2 damage across the board, but once he switches into strike mode, flash freezing at Yasuo just completely neuters his champion ability. And so while Ashe isn't 100% solid, isn't the best choice for this this adventure, she does have some positives within her kit. And so to give you our setup with Ashe, as we speak to every champion, we always have those 3 pillars of success, if you will, in the Legends of Runeterra, the pyramid of success, if you will. And so 2 of the 3, Ashe is very well set, right? She is decent at removal. I'm usually very happy to just have flash freezes as our removal spell for the game, and so between Ashe's frost shot ability, Ashe's attack ability, the various flash freezes within the deck, we're pretty good on removal, and so I'm fine with that. We're also good with the elusive, overwhelm, or rally aspect. While we don't have those abilities really caked into our deck, Ashe's unblockable state from her level 2 does enough. And so with those, we're completely fine. Where Ashe really struggles, in my opinion, and what we're going to try and focus on with the deck building, is that she doesn't scale very well. And so if you want to, say, envision a battle up against Lissandra, and we're shutting down the opposing board with flash freezes, they're not dealing any damage, we get a big attack back that can't be blocked, we deal like 40, right? We still have another 50 damage to go. The opponent attacks with the Watcher, we flash freeze it, our deck gets nuked, we attack for another 40, can't kill off the opponent, and then we eventually die. And so Ashe is really looking for a way to enhance the stats of her units so that they can actually get takedowns in combat against flash frozen units, and so that we can end the game faster if we get into those scaling situations to where it's kind of a big damage race, then we can take those battles down as well. And so that is my main thought on Ashe. Our relics don't help too much in that sense, but I think it's a nice variety set on Ashe here. And so there's a couple of items that we have. I mentioned the experience item that we're using, the Greater Cosmic Blessing. I think this is probably the last adventure we'll use it with Ashe. I'm not entirely certain if I would rather just like level up my smaller champions or have just like a small core at level 30. I think we'll probably get them to like 25 and then just kind of quit using the consumables. But that is the one item we have at the bottom. On the main slot, allies have Challenger. I've been fairly happy with this. There's not a bunch of ways to just scale up stats out of these rare items, and with our ability to just get flash freezes across the board, I really like being able to come in and pick and choose combats. And so it's not like a super necessity in the sense that The deck already has a handful of challengers. It has like the Frostwolf challenger in it. The Ashe ability puts vulnerable on the opposing units, but being able to pick and choose across the rest of the combats and then being able to get Ashe into combat without dying is pretty nice as well. And so, feel free to pick and choose something different than the Laurent Blade Rack. It's not a hard requirement for Ashe, but I would recommend something defensive for her. So the Blade Rack, something like Guardian Angel, something to where if Ashe hits the board and dies, you aren't completely just KO'd out of the game. She's very pivotal in your ability to finish off the games with the early game attacks into the frostbitten units and then the unblockable ability later. And so something defensive is what I recommend. I like the Blade Rack, but I'm not opposed to something like Guardian Angel. And so that is it. That is our Ashe. Let's jump into this adventure, see how it goes, see if we can't take down everyone's favorite ninja. It's a fucking ninja, right? That's what he does. That's his thing. Seems like a ninja. All right, see if we can't shortcut through this map as well, get you all out of here in 10 to 15. And so, jumping into the powers, what do we got? Something scaling's what we want, right? And there's nothing wrong with Mana Flow. It's not really a scaling item in the sense of getting a bunch of stats on board, but breaking the rules of the game with Mana Flow are always fine. Just one of the absolute most powerful powers in the game. Got to get those powerful powers. And so, let's snatch that one up pretty easy. Onto the Plaza Guardian. See what happens. So the foe reduces the cost of their Plaza Guardians everywhere by 1 at the start of the round. It can be tough. This is the kind of space to where I worry about the strength of Ashe, right? In the sense that, if the opponent does get to build up to like the 6 Plaza Guardians or whatever, we can't really take them down. And so our deck does struggle in the sense that we'll get a bunch of units on board, we'll flash freeze the entirety of the opponent's board, and then we're just not strong enough to take everything down. And so we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to decide if I want to just go ahead and take down the Zonite Urchin, because next turn we do want to just play Ashe. Maybe we'll just go ahead and be defensive here in the early game, preserve our health for a little bit. So here's what I'm talking about, this kind of situation with the blade back, or whatever this thing's called, the ridge back, the blade rack. It's in the sense that, the opponent very frequently has units that are already frostbitten, and so it's kind of weak there. We don't have any of the challengers in our hand. Oh, we do have the Avarosian Sentry in our hand with challenger that, it makes it kind of tough to pick and choose, but then it's like, if you don't want to just take this hook into Ashe, then the archers are pretty weak, and we can at least come in here and just like pick on both of the frostbitten units. And so I've been fairly okay with it in this sense, to where if we were with the Guardian Angel, we may not be able to attack in this space, and so it can be tough to decide. Oh, I forgot we're up against Tryndamere. We'll have to remember that as the rounds push forward. I wasn't making sure we took the strongest unit out later. Alright, we can continue on, though. I don't think we're struggling just yet. As long as we don't run into too many Plaza Guardians, we should be okay. Starting to come in now. Let's just go ahead and take the block on it. I'm not certain if how this opponent feels about playing things like iterative improvements to copy these Plaza Guardians. Not some kind of dirty Seraphine abuser out here with the Seraphines and the bloody businesses and everything, but I think they do have ways to copy it, so I have to wait and see. It is kind of nice to be able to come in and clear out some of this board, though, so that the now enhanced Plaza Guardian is the one that's going to be frostbitten at the start of the round. How do we want to do this? Let's lead off with the Rhinefang Wolf. Well, let's just get the Trapper in. Like, we should be able to hook in everything. I want to just fully flash freeze the opposing board this turn. And if we're gonna draw a unit, I would prefer to be drawing a Yeti. Like, I think we could have gotten a KO with the Yeti, but we're gonna be a little bit short without it. Right, what are we at? What's this? Just make me do math. We're at 22. It would have been pretty close if he didn't have a removal spell. But we're still okay to take this board down. Again, I want this Plaza Guardian to be our unit on the right, so that's the one that does physically die. As far as these others go, I guess this is okay. So we get the KO on Ballistic Bot. He gets to keep the Zonite Urchin. We lose the Trapper in the process, but not that big of a deal. Oh shit, I forgot about the Ashe ability. And now we get our double up spell, right? Share the spoils, see if we can't deck ourselves. Not bad, not bad. We got 10 cards left. No worries. And a Poro Cannon. 4 Poros rolling in. Kind of annoying. I'll be real with you. I don't want to take the damage this turn if we don't have to. So it's like, I guess we'll just Crystal Arrow these things, but then we're gonna struggle to finish the game off next turn. Let's just take 4 damage. It's not that big of a hit. Now this way we can at least finish. It's in, like, this is the kind of the problem with the Ashe deck, right? We're in a very commanding position, but we're really struggling to finish the game off as well. And so that's why I mentioned the scaling with Ashe is that most important thing to be coming out and finding. And this right here is one of the reasons I kind of enjoy this challenger ability, right? If you want to imagine that opponent was going to have 1 blocker here, right? I know that we're going to hit the opposing board and flash freeze everything and be completely unblockable, but if you want to imagine that the opponent has 1 blocker and then they can put their blocker in front of Ashe to prevent 15, we're not getting a lethal again this turn. And so it's a real pain point for the Ashe deck to deal with that kind of nonsense, and that's why I kind of like this Blade Rack. I get that we have a bunch of challengers and a bunch of ways around it, but just getting that guarantee on everything is pretty good. Alright, moving on though. What do we got? Don't really want any of these cards. Like, it's just not helping us win the game. And so let's just take a reroll. We'll just take 1. I don't want to burn through all of these things in the early game, but let's see if anything comes in that helps. And not really. The Ephemeral on the Rhinefang Wolf is not particularly ideal. It'll probably be okay in this battle, but it's not quite what we want. How do we feel about the Gray Apothecary? When an ally with 5 power dies, create a random follower with 5 power in hand. We're not really going Ashe LeBlanc out here today, right? It's a little early for that, and so I'll just take another roll. Feels like such a waste. Do we want to bring in a Feel the Rush? It is always nice. You get to listen to that sweet KDA music. Okay, I guess it gives us some top end. Like, we aren't really struggling to have stuff to do. I guess that'll be fine. Into the support champions. Let's see if something useful comes up. Our boy Udyr coming back up. Oh man, I always enjoy playing Udyr. I'm not entirely opposed to Pike in this space though. What does his, when I'm summoned, grow me to 8/8? Like, shouldn't be that tough to get strikes with. Like, if we just say pick up Pike and then try and cut these shitty cards out of our deck, get the Hammer Snout and get the Bone Skewer out, it's not that bad. Like, he's going to be flipping pretty easily, and he's a good target to hit with Feel the Rush. Like, I'm almost convinced. I'm almost convinced. I'd rather just take Udyr, though. He gives us those, like, guaranteed upgrades with the stance swaps and everything. And he's a fairly strong striking champion. I always end up passing on the lurkers, but how do we feel about loading up Rek'Sai with Feel the Rush just to get that Rek'Sai flip when she's guaranteed to come in? I'm just spitballing too hard here. It's just, do we want Udyr? Probably just take Udyr. Okay. And so let's move on forward. We haven't really gotten any of the upgrades that we're looking for. I mean, picking up Feel the Rush does give us a bunch of stats. The Udyr does give us access to stance swaps, which lets us scale a little bit, but not a ton. And so I think we want to make our way over to this shop to the left. And so we'll fight through the Crush Bot. It's a kind of an awkward battle setting everything to 2/5 stats, but I think it'll be okay. And then we'll go on from there. Okay, I don't know if you watched the sped up games, but I took the Udyr because he's good enough to not want to re-roll, and he was most certainly better than Pike and Rek'Sai. But I didn't really piece in my head that we were playing on this like duplicate spell round, and so getting the duplicated Shaman's Calls into the 4 stance swaps that then duplicate themselves, this is gonna be fucking sweet. Like I'm certainly on board with what is happening here, and so let's get to it. Let's get into battle. And so I guess we could pick up more stance swaps out of the Vulpine Wanderer. Again, I hate Voidling Shell. It just seems so completely bugged and I don't like it. But these other cards are a little bit unnecessary, and we do want to kind of lean into these stance swaps, I think. And so he'll be a valuable addition to the deck. I see an additional copy of him down here with Quick Attack, ready to just get fucked up by the Voidling Shell. But let's look at these other things and see if there's anything interesting. Counterfeit production, I don't really want. This would be a kind of interesting adventure for it. Like if we had, say, managed to take Pike, and then we were now going to play like counterfeit production on Pike over and over and over again, getting like the free counterfeit copies that then doubles itself. Like that could probably be a thing, but it's not really on point with what we're at now. And so as far as these other cards go, not super interested. The Vulpine Wanderer, I think we'll still pick up the Quick Wraps just for the one copy, but I won't take in the full stack. Otherwise, Alpha Wildclaw, I don't think we need it anymore. It's one of those cards I'll look to cut out of our deck, since we'll just stack in with Udyr at that point. And so we'll leave from here. It's like I kind of want to re-roll the counterfeit production, but I know we'll get better re-rolls later, and I don't have any real desire to put that thing into our deck. So we'll just go ahead and skip over it. Looks like we're up to a patched Porobot now, and then we'll hit a couple of things before Ezreal. Not a bad battle. And so with this, yeah, I'm not super interested in the Starlit Seer. I always worry about these quick attack units just hitting the board and then immediately dying, and so I think we'll stay away from it. It's very interesting though with the shared spoils and the Troll Chant. The Troll Chant kind of works with Ashe, right? You don't have to flash freeze your opponent's unit. You can just hit it with the neg2 on a Troll Chant, and that will level up your Ashe, so that's a potential thing there. And also having it summon 2 units in the early game is a pretty quick and good deal. And so I'm not opposed to the Troll Chant. The other thing is the shared spoils doubling up and then putting +8/+8 onto the top unit of our deck, or putting +4/+4 and drawing the 2 separate ones is, you know, a pretty decent deal with these Ardent Censors. And so I don't hate either option. The thing that I like to keep in mind a lot of the times is, do I want to actually come in and just cut this card out of our deck? And I don't think we'll be doing that with the shared spoils today. The other kind of concern I have with shared spoils is we're kind of running out of space in our hand for all these stance swaps, right? And so as we play a Shaman's Call, we need 4 spaces in our hand to get access to all of them. And I'm just worried that we'll never really find the time to play a shared spoils. But I think another thing to consider though is you don't have to play it in card draw mode. You can just play it burn the mana and stack off on the units on top of your deck, and so maybe that's enough. The other thing, we are about to battle with Ezreal, and Troll Chant is pretty good against Ezreal, giving us access to a way to shut off his strike ability, but I think I'm just going to go big with those stats. Pick up the Shared Spoils. Now we got a Practical Perfectionist, so we can either create copies of a card within our deck, none of these which I'm interested in, or we can learn to make them ourselves with the counterfeit copies. Unfortunately, could have had the sickest pike deck in the world, but I think we'll skip over all of this. This doesn't quite feel worthy of a reroll, although copying in some more Shaman's Calls wouldn't be that upsetting. Now, do we want to cut a card, or do we want to go to the shop? I'm kind of interested in getting these Alpha Wild Claws out of our deck. We do also have 5 copies of Alpine Wanderer, which would be a very strong target if we spike it within the shop. But maybe that's the angle we're willing to go here. I'm going to look to take the speedrun route, in the sense that we'll just go to Ezreal, we'll pick up the thing, go to the Vicious Enemy, pick up the other bonus, and then right into Yasuo. And so with that in mind, I think we'll just go for the high-powered stuff and keep those Wild Claws within our deck. And so the powers, just Lurk, definitely should have just gone Turbo Pike today. Lurk's fine. I don't think it adds a ton to our deck. It does give it a little bit of scaling. Otherwise, with these other things, adding Augment to Omen Hawk is pretty strong. If you want to think, okay, I play Shaman's Call and then I play all of the stance swaps, that should be 8 created cards for Augment. And so I think I want to at least add in the Augment to the Omen Hawk. Otherwise, Harsh Winds, it is kind of nice to have more flash freezes with the final Yasuo battle, just giving us an additional way to kick off some of his abilities, but I feel like we have enough. So let's do this. I'm going to take the Omen Hawk here. I'm thinking to just buy the Lie in Wait. There's no need to roll it. If we'll like roll on these power nodes, right? Whatever they're called, if we want to spend the rerolls in that sense, and so we'll let that go. The big one to me is, do we want this this Harsh Winds? And maybe we just go with like 2 copies, and I could be convinced that that's enough. Okay, go 3 copies. I convinced myself to go a little harder. Do we want to get any more of these jazzy Omen Hawks in here? Man, it's just like we have that opportunity. We should probably pick these Omen Hawks up coming into this Ezreal battle, but okay. A little sloppy, but I like where things are headed. This is pretty cool stuff. The Augment stance swap double me up kind of deck. It wasn't where I thought we would start, but I'm kind of happy with how we're finishing here. This is pretty sweet deck. All right, the big bear boy Udyr coming in. We dropped a little Feel the Rush in the previous game that we skipped through, and so maybe we'll try it again. Get those 4 champions on board. God damn it, I did this again. I did this in the last game as well, as to where I'm like, okay, well, we can win this quick attack, so we attack, and I forget that he has the Tryndamere ability that brings the unit right back. So a little sloppy, but so far I think we're okay.
The world's a big place. Let's see all of it.
Taking a bit of incidental damage here, but as long as we make it through the round, I think it's going to be okay.
A foray into the field?
I don't think we need to be like flash freezing this Astute Academic. We should just be able to win the round and then heal afterwards. I do think Ezreal should struggle with Udyr. I don't believe Ezreal has access to Hush. So let's play Udyr. We're going to take the free stance. Holy shit. How much is this on him? Way more than we can handle? Shit, we might just be dead now. Like, we could try and flash freeze. The flash freeze will double up and maybe put a stat bonus on Udyr, but needs to pick up quite a bit. Oh boy. Maybe we will be using that revive. Got a little greedy in here. Oh, the Plaza Guardian's rolling in. You just got all this shit for free? Okay. Okay. He's out here trying to have fun. Opponent disagrees. I think we should just be dead here. Like, we did get the flash freeze onto the Plaza Guardian, and if he sits around and does a bunch of nonsense, we might be able to fight through this. But my concern is that even if we survive the round, we're going to not be able to deal enough damage before he gets to like repop, and so yeah, we're just finished with this one. Oof, that was nasty. I was not expecting Ezreal to come out the gates like that. It's like maybe we needed to keep in mind, say, like the Azir battle, to where you typically just smash Azir every time as long as you're able to get Azir off the board early. Maybe that's how we need to get in head with Ezreal here, as he's doubling up all of these spells. That's a lot of AoE too. Ugh, I'm a little more concerned about this. Definitely need a nice early game stack. The shared spoils is pretty tempting in the sense that getting those big stats on top of our deck that can survive the damage-based removal out of our opponent's deck. Nothing to scoff at. We got Augment. Over here we got Challenger. Let's just take the Augment one. We'll remember our lesson from the previous game and just not attack directly into the thing. I guess our guy's gonna die anyways, but at least it took a card. Now I'm kind of hoping that we'll be able to Ice Veil Archer the Ezreal and then get online with Ashe. I think if we can get some attacks in with Ashe, we might be okay. Right, so it's like we play the Archer. Should be kind of survivable, right?
Patient, cautious, and quiet. This is our vein.
Okay. Counting on you, Ashe. You can do it.
Faster than my arrow? I think not. Give me a weapon, I'll give it firepower.
Funsmith is scary as shit. And so we need to do this right. We want the patched Poro bot to be the one that goes down first, so then we can ideally kill off Ezreal and the Funsmith after the Tryndamere ability pops. And so this should be a good attack. Hopefully we don't run into any removals. And okay, like now that we've like faded that round, I think we might be okay. Like it's a lot more challenging for the opponent to fight through what we put on the board here.
My aim is true.
Until the rocket barrages come in. Getting up to 8 is huge. Like 8 health. Like I think we immediately want to just stance swap this Ashe. Drop the boar stance on and see where that gets us. I don't know. He doesn't get like a discounted rocket barrage, right? He was playing like rocket barrages and then having them pop off from there. I think that's accurate.
This is glorious.
Alright, I'm not going to protect the unit here. It's not going to survive. I'm going to look to just put the other regenerate stance onto our Ice Veil Archer.
Goodbye.
I've brought my books. Hope that's all right.
Got to get through this fast though. It's so scary the amount that this deck is able to just churn out. Like we're so slow trying to take them down, and so I'm gonna go with the Crystal Arrow. I'd like to just find more dudes to put on board. We got to get built up to where we can get a kill here. And so if opponent's just gonna fuck around with these like dudes on board, that's fine. But we ultimately have to worry about getting burned out at the end of the day. Add a sentry. I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. I was kind of thinking in my head, I want to just drop a Harsh Winds this turn and then try and get 3 takedowns onto units. It seems believable that we can do it, you know. And then save the harsh winds for later. We need to find a Shaman's Call or a Feel the Rush to really pop off here. So checking the Oracle's Eye. What's even up? Like, maybe we don't need to harsh winds. It's hitting... He's only going to have the Assembly Bot and the Funsmith as units that aren't frozen. So let's just add units to the board.
Show them the way.
Interesting overwrites. Alright, so the way I think we'll handle it, let me just put this stuff on board, and then we gotta start consulting the Oracle's Eye, right? We want to be getting these Plaza Guardians off board. That's the big one in this space. So here's a... I think we want to do it like this. Why doesn't our... Oh, he doesn't get the kill just yet because we haven't moved units to the left. But this will be okay. We'll kill both of his Plaza Guardians this way, and our good units will survive. We do need to kill something out here to the left side. Who do we want that to be? Probably rather get the kill on the patched Porobot. And then we'll still draw a card this way. I think that's fine. Get the takedown onto the armed gearhead. Then deal the remaining damage to this dum-dum, to the assembly bot. I think that looks okay. The Oracle's Eye looks good. Why are we losing 2 units? Oh, we don't want to lose any units here. We're getting his Plaza Guardians off board, losing 1. Yeah, I'm on board. Okay. Hit our lurk as well. Alright, just need that time thing everybody's talking about. Whew.
Happy to do whatever's needed.
Rhymefang Wolf. Not super exciting. He's at least got a bunch of stats, and can we deal 40 next turn? It's like we've got the double harsh winds to KO 2 units, so it's like we can double harsh winds, Ashe ability, and the initial frostbite, assuming he doesn't kill any of our plays, and we're at 9, 15, 24, 29, like 36. No, we're short that way. Okay. Look at me nailing that math, though. I know you all are jealous of my capabilities. Uh-oh. This is being in the danger zone, though, right? He's got that flipped Ezreal on the board. I think we have enough, like, buffer at this point to not worry about it. Does make an attack. Okay.
The time is right. Strike now.
We might get closer this way. We have a bunch of items drop onto the board from this this thing, whatever it's called. Our Ashe just went up to 15 attack with double radiant plate armors. Could be interesting. We're getting the augments on our Omen Hawks as well. Ooh, they'll get additional augments next turn, right? If we start using those secondary harsh winds. I think we just got to go for it.
Safeguard our home.
The real question is, can we also hook Ezreal, right? It looks like we're at 46 on board, and we should pick up a couple of more points along the way. Let's see, we do get to draw a couple of cards along the way. Maybe that'll make it interesting or change our opinion on something. It's just like so brutal if we make this attack and then he like has a burn spell to take one of these little Omen Hawks off the board. We can survive 1. We can't. I guess this is his way to do it. Oh, he has True Shot Barrage now. He doesn't have Static Shock, so I think we're okay. Put a lurk as well. Completely unblockable. Oof. Okay. Okay. That one had me worried.
Now begins a new era of peace.
Now begins a new era of peace. Nice work, Ashe. All right, so heal us back up. Let's pick up another champion here. I usually stack Ashes, but this Udyr is kind of tempting. I think we'll just go with Ashe. Colossal Hammer seems reasonable. Just giving us more attack power. Trying to think to the point to where she's able to like survive a Yasuo strike on her own. I think she'll be okay there. So into the powers, what do we got? Round start, stun the strongest enemy. I do typically like, but there's a Trifarian Might in here as well. Trifarian Might probably going to hard carry us through these battles. And then there is the sorcery. Like, all of these are very good. Now, the problem with Hold It... no, it does... Does Hold It work with... I should know this by now. Does Hold It work with the... Like, you frostbite the strongest enemy, and then does it stun something else? I can't quite remember if those both tag the same unit. It should be different ones, I think, but not entirely certain. I'll just go with the Trifarian Might. Man, it's just like, I know with sorcery we can just like start popping off on those stance swaps. It's like we can play a stance swap generator on turn 1 and then just immediately double pop it with the stance swaps. Ah, man, how many Trifarian Mights do we get right out the gates? Omen Hawk's a no. Sentry's a no. Iceveil Archer's a 4/4. Vulpine guy, this is who I want to play on turn 1 and then immediately start stance swapping. It's just Ashe and Udyr and the Shaman. Now, it is quite good with Udyr. I've started to dabble in trying to make shorts, and that was one of my favorite videos. My execution on shorts is poor, but I had the Deathless Udyr with Trifarian Might and Shadow Totem. So it was like he would hit the board, summon an ephemeral copy. The ephemeral copy would strike with the Trifarian Might, die, come back with Deathless. The Deathless unit comes in, summons an ephemeral, and it's like you just get the big chain of Udyrs going. I wish I had a better way to really, showcase it, but it was super fun. But all right, I think we're good. We'll make it to the Hexcore Foundry. We're going to speed through that battle in terms of time. We'll make our way down to Yasuo. Hopefully we can finish off this quest. So, into the Hextech Foundry. Right, good stuff, good battle. Let's make our way to the end. And so we do have additional copies of Udyr here. I'm not excited about the draw spell thing, but Udyr, something I'm glad to have additional copies of. Now we can make our way into the power. We will burn our rerolls at this point until we find something we like, or until we're done. We only have 2, and so nothing too strong here. Let's see if we can't get something a little bit more on point. Summoning a champion with the stabilize is pretty good. It doubles up a little bit with Udyr. Just kind of considering just starting with the Sting Officer, though. It's like it doesn't really add anything to our deck that it doesn't already do. But it is still quite strong. It's probably like, what other random rare relic would we want to hit that isn't stabilized? I don't know. Something like Domination to get rallies, but there's a lot of turds. Like if we roll and we land on like Sting Officer and just other start the game units, I'm not going to be too happy with it. So I think it'll be fine. We'll add that one in. Now I'm not going to take the slow route. I think our deck is good enough. We'll come down, battle Yasuo. All right, off we go. Oof. Well, yes, well, yeah, I'm worried. It's interesting to where, you know, the stuns hopefully aren't that big of a deal, right? We can we can fight through that, but the kind of longevity is what worries me when they're able to kind of really slow down what we're bringing forward. But we'll see.
Death is like the wind.
Just gotta get some of those. Just gotta get some of those
A chill in the air.
stance swaps on board. We're gonna be good to go. But it seems like a reasonable enough start against Yasuo. He comes on board. We drop a Frostbite on him. Nothing to worry about there. Now we should be able to just drop in Ashe and then be off to the races. We got the free hook onto Yasuo. We got the extra copy coming in now for a little bit of protection as well. I think we're looking strong.
My arrow won't miss.
Yasuo's not scaring shit today. It's interesting. We want to put the Blade Twirler in front of Ashe so she gets that permanent bonus. Typically throw units out in front of the ephemeral copy just because it's going to die, but we actually get a relevant reason to want to get the strike in. It's the what the fuck? What? Yeah. Oh, god damn it! He's got the. That was brutal mistake. I forgot about the Tryndamere ability. It's like I've got so ingrained in my head that we're going to attack left or right and have our strongest attackers to the right so that they have the least amount of shenanigans run into them. But bit of a mistake. We're still running fine though. I'm not too worried about what this Yasuo's doing. I'm pretty confident that it just gets better for us once the Yasuo flips and he doesn't deal 2 damage. He deals the 0 damage from the strike, and so maybe we'll be okay in that sense.
You'll get it.
Guide our allies, my friend.
Oh, he's bringing attacks and stuff, huh? Losing out on our bird, bit of a bummer there, but the rest of these combats are gonna be fine. This is easy mode combats happening here. He doesn't have any mana left over. Sad day for Yasuo. There goes the team. Yeah, facepalm it a little bit. Well done. I don't have my good emote set, and so can't appropriately show my reactions. Yasuo gets stunned again. Good deal. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Omen Hawk. I'd like to see the opponent invest a little bit in this board, right? Everybody we have has Challenger, so we should be able to bait him into playing a unit and then still just stun everybody. A bit of a bummer what happened there with Yone coming in, but we still have decent attacks this round. Barely get a takedown on Yasuo, or barely get a takedown on Yone. Is Yone the one that we would prefer to have online, right? We're going to be able to kill all of his units this turn. But Yone is just kind of a vanilla do-nothing to where the Fey Blade Twirler is going to continue to scale up. I think that's where we want to be. So let's at least not mess this up this time. Make sure we get the Yasuo off the board. We'll get a strike in as well so that we get the plunder off of the shared spoils. And so, the game seems pretty firmly in our favor, pretty firmly in grasp. I'm feeling good about finishing this off. Just going to be a matter of, how long it takes. Getting these 12, 14 Udyrs that are about to flip is certainly going to help. Doing double Spirits Within should help as well, but I think we're okay. Make that triple Spirits Within. Ashe comes back to hand so we can double Ashe next turn. This has just got to be done, right? We can take a 3-hit from the Windsinger and not feel bad about it. Here comes the fun. I miss the Spirits Unleashed so much. This is such an awesome card. So getting to come out here and really unleash the spirits like this feels pretty good. Alright, team boost number 1. Get ready with the team boost number 2. May not even need to play Ashe after this. Probably want to just to get the unblockable abilities, but certainly not a requirement. Maybe he'll recall another unit or something before we attack for 150.
My friend and I are toll collectors.
Nope. Sad day.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
Alright, that's gotta be it. That's gotta do it, right? Unfortunately, no flip for Yasuo in this game, but still get a pretty nice finish at the end of the day. Ready to send my attackers in. Did we get to 150? Only 84. Amateur work. So, fairly easy battle at the end of the day, but that Ezreal round certainly had us squeezing cheeks in the middle of the game. And so, you know, interesting set. Like I said at the beginning, I wish I'd paid a little bit closer attention to what we were able to assemble for the double spell. But I think this was, you know, a very clear indicator that even though Ashe's kit isn't really built to take advantage of the double spell, that doesn't mean that you can't just come out and find some great combos with it. And so we got the Feel the Rush within here. Really exceptionally happy what was happening with Shaman's Call within this list, and an all-around pretty awesome way to be finishing off the day. And so that's a good one to keep in mind, the Shaman's Call, in the event that you haven't finished up this quest yet and you get a nice pickaroo in the middle for your Freylord spells. That's a pretty strong place to be. And so getting the double Shaman's Call into the double stance swaps is pretty cool. So good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Bust Me. Thank you for being here.